Hey friends, over 60% of you are listening to me right now on an Apple product. iPhone, iPad, iTunes. I need your help. The truth is, Apple will make this podcast more discoverable to new listeners the more reviews it has. So I'm here asking you to take a moment and leave a review. If you've gained any value from this podcast, the greatest thing you can do for it, besides spreading the word and telling friends, is leaving a review. It's real simple. If you're on your phone, head over to my podcast page within the Apple Podcast app and leave a review. Or if you're on a computer, you can head over to my podcast page within the iTunes app. That's it. That's all I ask. And if you have other podcasts that you love, do them a favor and do the same for them. It'll make their day. Now let's get this podcast started already. Welcome to the Gary Cantrell Podcast. Hope you guys are having an amazing week. Thanks again for listening. I do greatly appreciate it. Well, you guys are probably wondering how I'm doing, and I'll tell you how I'm doing. The last couple of weeks of episodes have kind of been a similar theme about, kind of falling into a funk for the last pretty much month and doing my best to get out of it. And I probably would say that I'm probably 80 to 85% of where I want to be at this point. It's not something that you can flick the switch on, honestly. Even when you know what's going on. That's kind of the funny thing to me. It's like early on, I really started to realize like what it was, what was going on. And even then I still couldn't fix it right off the bat. It's really a gradual process, which kind of sucks because honestly, you feel like you're just trapped inside your own mind and your body, and you just feel like, there's no way out right away, even when you know what's going on. So, you just try to do things to work your way out of it. And actually this weekend, I hung out with my best friend Sean, and we hung out. We just, what do? We hung out at his store for a little bit where he works, and then we went to TGI Fridays for drinks and apps and all that stuff. And I got to tell you, it's some of the most fun that I've had in quite a while. The one thing about him is that it's always simple with him. We could do the simplest, most stripped down of things, like simply just sitting at a table and telling old stories and laughing. And it just has such a way of really just making me at ease. And I told him that. I shared it with him. I said, dude, man, I know this is going to sound crazy, but just sitting here, man, and shooting the breeze with you and hanging out is doing a lot. And he knows what I've been going through. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing how that works. But it was something that happened that night that really hit me. And I posted a picture on my Instagram, actually. This would have been yesterday for Transformation Tuesday. And in his store, he's got this big ass mirror. I mean, it's huge. And I was actually trying on a jersey that I was thinking about picking up. And I go over to this mirror because I just want to see, like, what can I see in it. And what I saw really was, and this is going to sound very crazy, but it just floored me, honestly. And it was looking at this man in the mirror who's been through all this stuff, for the last month, just absolutely feeling like complete garbage. And I've eaten like garbage too. I think I've told you guys about this on another podcast, so I'm not going to, go crazy into it, but a man who's been through garbage, ate like garbage. And it's funny to me because I'm just like, part of that depression And part of, eating like the garbage, you start feeling, oh God, man, I'm going backwards. You feel like you're going backwards. And, maybe you have a day where you've just taken in way too much and you feel so bloated that your shirts start, getting a little tighter. And I had a couple of those days, but I looked at this guy in the mirror and I said, man, this is a way different person than a person that I've seen in the mirror many other times. It's just a completely different person. And it makes me just have time to reflect and think like, okay, maybe you've eaten like garbage a little bit. You haven't missed your workouts, which is great. But as far as the health side of this, like, I've got no reason to be upset. None. Zero. And this is something that I wanted to share because I feel like so many of us, we get upset if we have, a rough patch. And I'm pretty sure that I've talked about this on a couple of podcasts, but now that it's actually happened to me, it feels very relevant to talk about. But I think so often we go through some funks because that's a very normal part of life. It's unavoidable. No one's perfect. You think reading all this stuff on Instagram, you think these people are perfect. I got news for you. They're not. A lot of people are not sharing the real story. They're sharing alternate stories of what they want you to see. They're not sharing the real stories with you. And so that can be problematic. You know what I mean? If people aren't giving you the real story, that can be really problematic. And you think that everything's great. And maybe the flip side of it too is people might say, Gary, you're probably sharing a little too much. And that's possible. That's fair. But I guarantee you're going to feel like you have the realest look into me as much as I can possibly let out. And so, to go back to it before I get off on too much of a tangent, when you go through these funks, it's easy to beat yourself up and think that everything is lost, all progress is lost. And this goes for whether you're mentally broken, because yes, that happens. That's what I've been. You could be physically broken. You could have an injury or something like that, and you feel like everything is just lost, but it's not. And that's why I wanted to get on here today and tell you all that, please don't give up. You may hear me say this many times in a podcast, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. But don't you ever think about giving up. You want to pause, you want to hit the pause button, that's fine. But we don't start over. We don't give up. We just keep going. we might hit the pause button, but then we keep going. That's the point. So I look at this guy in the mirror and I say to myself, man, when you think about it, wow. That was the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, wow. And I'm not someone that thinks like highly of myself or anything. I'm not one of those people. But I just look at it and I go, wow, what in the world do I got to be upset about when it comes to my health? I'm not on a time limit. I'm not out here trying to rush. This is my life. And I'm adjusting with where I'm at in my life, and I'm adjusting to these situations. And I look at that person in the mirror with that body and I said, dude, what the hell you got to be so upset about? the answer is I have nothing to be upset about. In fact, I need to tell myself more, hey man, good job, because man, you never stopped going. You just kept going. And that's the message today. Is I want so much for all of you to keep going. Sometimes it seems a little repetitive, but when people ask me over and over and over again, what's the best advice you can give me? Gary, you lost 100 pounds. What is your best advice? My best advice is to keep going. That's it. Whether you take that advice and you roll with it or not, that's up to you. I can't make you do that. But I can show you the mindset of what I do. And I think that it's a working mindset, honestly. It really is. I should probably be putting it in a book and selling it to people, which I am, by the way. I've been writing a book about my story, and a lot of this is in there about the mindset. In a world where there's so many diets, so many different types of diets, it really, for me, always comes back to the mindset. It's always the best advice I give somebody. And it's funny because you'll see people, they'll listen to the advice and then they just go off on completely other things, and that's fine. You know, if you want to do 20, 30-day challenges, go for it. Whatever makes you happy. As long as you go to bed every night and you know that you're giving it your best effort, that's really what matters. How we all get there, how we all accomplish our goals, that's neither here nor there. The point is that we're happy and that we know that we're true to ourselves, that we are putting in that work and we're doing the absolute best that we can. And so when I bring it back to looking at that guy in the mirror, I know that as of right now, I'm doing the best that I can, minus the garbage food I ate, but we're slowly turning that back around. I know that I'm true to myself in the sense that I'm going to the gym, I'm hitting those workouts. In the last month, I maybe missed 3 of actual scheduled workouts. And that's being completely honest and transparent with you guys. So I feel good about it. So much of it is, and a lot of times, like I mentioned last week, to bring it back to last week, not making it a numbers game. So often we get hung up in that we get into that rush. And honestly, I think a lot of it is trusting the process, loving the process, and just taking your damn time with it, being patient. It's so important. That's more important than just about anything else you can do. But you got to love that process, because if you don't love working on your body, it feels like a chore. And when it feels like a chore, you just want to quit. That's why so many people give up so much. And so if there's one thing that I can constantly put in your brains as you're listening to this, it's the patience game. It's not an easy one to win. And yes, it's easy for me to come on here and talk about the 4 pillars, the patience, consistency, hard work, and love yourself. And each one of these damn pillars is very difficult. It's not handed to you. It's not an easy thing to get. But once you get it, you will be unstoppable. That's a promise. And you'll get in your funks. But these 4 pillars will help you to deal with that funk, because it'll tell you it's okay. Just keep going. And that's the ticket. I've had a couple times where people said, man, you should be like a trainer or one of these things. Look, I'm no nutritionist. I'm no certified trainer or anything like that. But I do feel like I have the mindset down pat. And in the coming weeks, I'm going to make myself available to people who want the guidance when it comes to that mindset. And this is kind of a scary thing for me to talk about because y'all know me, I ain't no salesman. I don't like to be a salesman. I wait till the very end of the podcast. That's when I plug my t-shirts because I don't like to be a salesman. But when I hear over and over and over again about people saying, you know, how can I get, you know, more of your time? Well, I'm gonna offer more of my time to people that want it. So in the coming weeks, I'm gonna release more details about this. And no, this is not going to become a thing where it takes over the entire podcast every week. But in the coming weeks, I'm going to have more details about a service that I'm going to offer where you will have access to me and my mind and how we can apply it to you. And so for those of you that have already asked, your answers are coming. And to those who maybe have not asked but might have thought about it or wondered, or maybe even you're curious, please drop me a line. Hit me up. Hit me up on Instagram if we're already Instagram buddies. Otherwise, you can reach me, Gary's Podcast at gmail.com, and reach out to me. And I'm going to get more details to you as soon as I have them. So stay tuned, and we can talk more about it. All right, so there was something else I was going to talk about, and of course, because I cut this thing on and I just go and it's as natural as possible, I think I've forgotten what else it was that I wanted to say. To tie a bow on the whole mirror thing. The man in the mirror for me. I want you guys to take a look in that mirror, a challenge to you, if you will. I want you all to take a look in that mirror and tell me what you see. Tell me, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you look in that mirror, and what do you see? Are you proud of yourself? Do you feel good about your efforts? Do you look at the mirror and say, wow, I've come a lot farther than I've realized? Well, take a look at that mirror and let me know. I'm curious. I am genuinely curious at what you see when you look in the mirror. And maybe post it on your Instagram too. Because I would love to read those and like those and share them, if that's okay with you. So take a look at that mirror, maybe take a picture of it, post it on your Instagram, tag me in it. That's a lot. I realize it's a lot, but if you want to do it, you don't have to do it. And tell me what you see. Are you proud of yourself? Spoiler alert, the answer should be yes. If you're doing everything you feel like you should be doing, the answer should be yes. And it's just that simple, guys. Because I'll tell you, when I looked in that mirror, I was completely shocked. Because I looked far better than in my mind I ever thought I looked. and what it did to boost my confidence, to boost my mood, well, that was just completely awesome. So go take a look at that mirror and get back to me and let me know what you see when you look in that mirror. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up this week. What I would like to tell you, as I like to say, I like to save it for last. The store, hardworkalwayswins.com, is going to be going on a brief little vacation for a couple of weeks while we reskin it up and, add some new stuff. I don't have a firm date of when it's actually going down, but it's going to go down very, very soon. So I would encourage all of you guys to go to hardworkalwayswins.com, find the stuff that you want right now. If it's something that you've been looking at and you've been telling yourself, well, I think I might want to get this, get it now. Go right now. Don't wait, because it may be gone. But take 10% off your order using the code Gary's Podcast, GARYSPODCAST. Use that code and take 10% off. That'll help you. It'll make it a little bit easier for you. But get it now, because we're going to take this thing down for a little bit and add some new stuff and remodel some stuff. I want to make it even more optimized, the store. I want to make it really, really nice. So get what you want now before we go on a little break. And check it out. Hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops, hats, all that good stuff. You can see some pictures of the products, whether you're on my personal Instagram at Gary Cantrell or the clothing line Instagram, Hard Work Always Wins. I haven't posted on there in a little while, but I'm going to get back to that very, very, very soon. We're also going to be looking to potentially collab with some people. So, stay tuned for that. That should be fun too. Do some collabs, spread the word, get the word out. So hardworkalwayswins.com, check it out. And again, if you want more details on what I'm going to be offering in the coming weeks as far as access to me and the 4 pillars, mindset and all that stuff, we're going to talk about it in the coming weeks. I'm going to have more details, but reach out to me now just so I can kind of gauge a little more interest. I know there's been 3 or 4 of you already that have been reaching out, and a couple of you have been asking for similar things. So reach out to me, and if this sounds like something that you're interested in, let me know. And as I get more details, we're going to talk about it. So I want to thank you guys so much for listening to this week's show. I'll be back next week with another show. And I think that's it for now. If I can think of anything else, we'll just do another podcast, or I'll see you guys next week. So thanks for listening. I do appreciate all the support. Leave an iTunes review if this episode gave you any value whatsoever. On my webpage, Gary'sPodcast.com, there's actually a donation link if you want. Maybe you don't want merchandise. If you just want to throw me a few bucks just to do it, I won't fight you over it. Go to Gary'sPodcast.com. Right below the banner art, there's a little $ button. You can tap that, and it'll allow you to donate money to the show. I don't like begging for money. That's not what I do, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least tell you that it existed. You may not know that it does exist. So if you want to do that, you can hit that up. Other than that, folks, I'm getting the hell out of here. Thank you guys so much for listening. And remember, look in that mirror, be proud of yourself, and know that you're doing the very best that you can. Just don't give up. Keep going. The small steps that you're taking are going to add up to large gains in time. You just got to be patient and get your mind out of the funk. That's what I'm doing, folks. 85% of the way there, and we're getting better every day. So thank you guys for your support. Thanks to all that have reached out. I'll see you guys next week.